They've been absolutely incredible.
They are brave goals, they are.
Great goals.
Talking about someone who scored, TT's just rang me for a debrief.
Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry.
We're talking Arsenal. What does he know about Arsenal? Arsenal. I mean...
Squeaky bum.
Squeaky arse and all time, I think.
Would you give him the job, Al? That's the question.
Newcastle didn't have the quality in the final third to upset them, and that's a huge...
Don't start giggling, Micah. Don't start giggling.
How do you set up for a game?
Do you think he can remember?
What do you mean?
Can you walk us through the emotions
of how you exactly failed?
What's this, to take the piss out of Al 5 minutes, is it?
I watch, honestly, every game possible. I've got no life.
You must have some life if you got time to go and find those stupid fucking boots you're wearing.
Hello and welcome to The Rest is Football with Micah Richards, Alan Shearer and me, Gary Lineker. Hello, chaps.
How are we doing?
How are we?
We're doing pretty well, thank you very much. Mike, you've had a busy day. Alan, you were doing Match of the Day yesterday. I didn't think I'd see you on yesterday. There was only 5 games, but there you were.
Did yesterday. Yeah, was at the Newcastle game today. And then just got home and then watched Big Mix on television.
It was a strange result, to say the least.
We'll come to that. But firstly, those boots you're wearing, man. Was it a big climb up to get to where you had and you had to put hiking boots on? Because I've got some like that. I walk the dog when I walk the dog.
I've had so many messages.
Have you? I'm not
saying,
totally surprised.
What on God's earth have you got on your feet?
At one point, I thought there might be, you know, when you go 10-pin bowling, those big tube things you put on with the laces and stuff. But then
you know what? If you've not seen them, I'll get them.
I've seen them. I've seen everyone take the piss out of them. They're green, aren't they? Did they match? Did you have green trousers on as well?
Oh, they're actually quite nice. A little better, yeah.
I actually think they're quite nice.
They are. They're great for walking a dog.
In the fucking 60s.
Did you have to abseil up down the Emirates or something?
I thought I'd mix it up every now and then.
Well, what about how Patrick and Roy were together?
You know what? I thought there was going to be a little bit more needle, but they've worked together at ITV before.
And before that, Mike, I don't know whether you know, but you know, Tony, my partner, before we joined up as a production company, made the documentary called Keane and Vieira, Best of Enemies. Have you ever seen it?
I watched it. Yeah.
Very, very good.
Very good.
How were they? All right. Patrick's lovely though, isn't he?
Oh, he's so elegant, isn't he? Everything that he says is just so measured and thought out, knows exactly what he's talking about, can do the tactical side, can have fun, can give opinion. Well, I told him, you need to come on the pod in the summer.
Does he want to get back in, Micah, or is he happy doing the TV?
No, he wants to get back in.
So how was Match of the Day yesterday, Al?
Match of the Day was good, yeah. As you rightly say, there was only 5 games. There was only 3 to watch at 3:00, and then the late one was Liverpool. But yeah, it was a good day, yeah, really good. Enjoyed it.
A few goals, excitement. Yep. In fact, I would say it's been a hell of a week of Premier League football, and there's much for us to discuss. This episode of The Rest is Football is powered by our new presenting partners, Fuse Energy. We're thrilled to welcome them to the team, especially outside the regular transfer window.
A new signing providing power and energy. That sounds like a bit of me back in the day, guys.
And reliable too, not one of those fair weather players who go missing in December.
Fuse will be powering The Rest is Football right through the season. They're one of the UK's fastest growing energy suppliers, building solar farms and helping homes make smarter choices. Power that performs throughout the season.
Fuse, keep everything running, lights on, meters smart, cars charged, a full squad you can count on.
And when you sign up for their fixed rates, your energy prices hold their shape, even as the nights turn colder and the title race heats up.
The season is long, but with Fuse, the energy never drops. For more information about energy that hits the top corner every time, head to fuseenergy.com/football. And if you fancy getting involved, sign up with the code FOOTBALL for the chance to get a shout out on the pod and throw your own question at us next time. The first bite delivered by Uber Eats has to be Arsenal and Manchester United, and United's, quite surprising victory. I think that's two really, really good performances. I mean, it's a tough place to play. Arsenal were unbeaten there in the Premier League this season. And now there's only one team with a 100%, well, not winning record, but there are only one team left that has been unbeaten at home, and that is Sunderland. And who would have thunk that at the start of the season?
When Michael took the job, and he'd looked at his first two games, whether he did, I'm sure he did, and thought, wow, Man City at home, Arsenal away. We would have taken 2 points there, 2 draws, would have snapped your hands off, I think. But they've been absolutely incredible. We're all waiting, thinking, can they reproduce? Can they go again after what we saw against Man City at Old Trafford last week? And the answer was absolutely they could. I mean, to go to one of, if not the toughest place in the Premier League and do what they did and play like they did and come back from a goal down like they did and go and win it. Incredible, really is.
It's funny football, isn't it? Because suddenly you go back to a system that perhaps suits some of the players. You bring back a bit of experience in Harry Maguire. You bring back one of the star players in Kobbie Mainoo and play him in there. You push Bruno a little bit further forward where he's a little bit more comfortable and can bring out his brilliance more. You get Ahmad playing as a winger and not as a wing back. And all of a sudden, it's very strange, but things start to happen for you.
You always want to give the respect to the manager, don't you? You know, with his system and everything. But we kept saying it continuously. The players are playing out of position. Playing at 2 number 10s, Diallo in a number 10. Like, and Bournemouth in a number 10. Why? They did the most damage from wide position. I know Bournemouth's playing up front now, but he's got the freedom to go where he wants. But Man United, lads, have been absolutely outstanding on the ball and off the ball. The rotations, Fernandes, watching him live, the way he always wants to get the ball, but in difficult positions. If you see the goals, the Cunha and Dorgu, they are brave goals. They
Great goals.
Getting on the ball on the half turn and then driving, trying to make something happen. Dorgu goal was fantastic. Link up with Bruno Fernandes. There's a little slight debate on whether it touched his hand. One angle looked like it did.
If they disallow a goal for that, honestly, then, I mean, I'm already finished with VAR, but that would have been, I mean, it just came off his hip mostly. Yeah. And if it flicks I know the game's gone a bit bonkers with that sort of thing. And we know the law says if it hits your hand and you score in any way, shape or form, it's disallowed. But if they'd honestly, I was watching it going, don't do this. Do not do this. But, I mean, as a neutral, I'm sure if you're an Arsenal fan, it's a bit different. But I was thinking, no, you can't do this nonsense.
Absolutely.
And then Cunha comes on, gets in a little pocket, little tactical switch, puts Esco up front, take off Dorgu, put Cunha to the left. He comes on in the pocket and scores a wonderful goal. And we've got to give credit to Carrick and the players. Absolutely. Also, in buying into what he's trying to do. They could have downed tools because he's not a big name manager, but the way they're playing is actually really good to see.
What on earth is Ruben Amorim sat doing, thinking, looking at those 2 performances? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I don't know what he'll be thinking. He'll be thinking,
maybe I got it wrong.
Well, you know what? The thing is, though, Al, is when you buy into man, because what he did at Sporting and it worked very well, and subconsciously you're thinking, okay, we'll give him a little bit more time because it's worked before, but he's coming to a different league. He's got players who can't play in those positions, and we're still all waiting, giving the benefit of the doubt, when really he got a result playing 4-2-3-1, and then he changed back to 3 at the back. It's madness.
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy.
I don't think the monsters of football can play 5 at the back, 3 at the back, whatever you want to call it. I think
Inter did it, and Inter did it very well. They got to the Champions League final doing it, but they had players to suit the system.
I mean, I know they've done well in recent seasons and they've done well in Italy, but, That is an Italian way as well. That's going back, not necessarily playing three at the back. It's been around forever. But I just think when in the Premier League and stuff, there are so many teams that want to sit against you, and then you've got three players hanging around at the back. I don't know. They just never look comfortable with it, and it's amazing. People always go down. The players are not really interested, and of course they are. It's just. If you're comfortable in the way you're playing, if you understand the way you're playing, you exude more confidence, and therefore there's a better energy about everyone. And it's not a question of lack of effort previously. It was a mixture of things, lack of understanding of the way they were playing in certain positions, as you said, Micah, square pegs in round holes. And if you've got that lack of belief, and then there's a bit of confusion, you've got players playing in positions that they're not accustomed to, then it's naturally you lose confidence. And if you lose confidence, everyone thinks that's a lack of effort. But actually, it's probably the opposite. Sometimes you can try too hard.
The arrogance to say, no, I'm not doing any other thing. This is my way or the highway. It was just not even shift or to accept that this is probably not working. Maybe I should try something else. He put all his eggs into that basket, and if that didn't work, he was done, and it didn't. So
his eggs cracked. Michael Carrick, his record in charge of United, it goes beyond, because obviously he did this a smaller interim phase before. 5 games, 4 wins and a draw. 2 wins against Arsenal now. Same result as today last time. A win against City and Villarreal, and a draw against Chelsea. So, Carrick's at the wheel, signed the contract. I'm pleased for him. He's obviously a very, intelligent individual. You can tell the good managers are always these bloody holding midfielders, aren't they? It's weird. So many of them, because they're almost the brains of the team. So you can see why.
Would you give him the job, Al? That's the question.
I think it's too early to say after 2 games. Absolutely very, very promising. Made an unbelievable start. Maybe even surprised himself. I don't know. But I think ask me that in 2 months' time.
Yeah, I think you've got to wait till the end of the season. That makes sense. Yeah. Did you see the Mourinho little swipe? What is going on in world football? The Giants are giving it to managers with no success or no experience.
Yeah.
I love Jose. I love him. He's amazing.
Yeah. He's box office.
He just says it how it is. Brilliant. Put more pressure on the young managers, but they're doing it.
They're 12 points behind the leaders. I think we're getting ahead of yourselves a little bit there. But what about Arsenal? A little bit. What we call it? Squeaky arse and all time. Squeaky arse and all time. That's better.
I like that, guys. I thought you might like.
I'm talking about it at the end of the game, but it's too early for that. But you're going to get little blips. But it's. They've got a good lead, and I would look behind and I would go, well, Man City are also inconsistent at the moment. Villa are absolutely punching above their weight, but they've got some really good players and they're a very good side. And then there's quite a gap. But yeah, I still think Arsenal should be fine. And you're going to lose the occasional football match, because it's hard not to.
I'm starting to get a little bit worried for Arsenal, guys, because I feel that they're playing quite defensive. And I don't think this has just been the last couple of games. I think that's been the majority of the season. They've scored, I think, 13 goals from set pieces. The next top goal scorer is on 5.
I've got something even better here, Micah.
Go on.
The forwards and their goal scoring. Bukayo Saka, no goals in the last 13 appearances in all competitions. Victor Gyökeres, no non-penalty goals in his last 11 Premier League appearances. Gabriel Martinelli, no goals in his last 13 Premier League appearances. Noni Madueke, no goals in his last 25 Premier League appearances. Leandro Trossard, 1 goal in his last 11 appearances in all competitions. Now, I know people have chipped in from around the team, particularly at the back. And of course, Eze got a hat-trick, didn't he, against Tottenham. So we can't forget people that have scored a few goals. And Jesus has come in and scored.
Before you go on there, guys, talking about someone who scored, TT's just rang me for a debrief.
Thierry Henry.
Say hello, Thierry, to Gary and Alan.
Thierry Henry.
I'll ring you back, mate. I'll ring you back.
Yeah. We're talking Arsenal. What does he know about Arsenal? Great stuff.
So you were saying, guys. Sorry to cut you off.
I mean they've not got anyone really banging in the goals on a regular basis. I mean, Jesus has come back and scored one or two, but we know from his, he's a little bit. There's a reason that they needed to buy another number 9 in the first place. I mean, I like Jesus, always have. His work ethic's really good. He chases, he harries, he does get a few goals. I think he's a bit streaky. He's one of those, when he's on, he's on. But when he's off, he's a bit of a confidence player, which is, but I don't know. I saw there was, it's probably complete bullshit, but as most of these things are on social media, they were linked with Julian Alvarez, who I know is not entirely happy with life at Atletico. Now that is the sort of player that he can handle a big occasion. I mean, he's a World Cup winner, for crying out loud. So if there's someone like that at Arsenal, I think it'd be game over. But they do need one or two of these forwards to start scoring on a reasonably regular basis.
Because you say they didn't sit back against Inter Milan in midweek in the Champions League, but the only difference is Inter had a pop at them, whereas there's not too many teams will have a go at Arsenal in terms of they're coming up against teams that are prepared to sit, that prepared to double up on Saka, on Trossard on either side, like they did today. Man United, I thought they did it really, really well, and they're finding it tough to find any space.
You know what? It's exactly right there, Alan. But I think that's down to the transition. So when Arsenal are building up, the build up too slow, then they get the ball wide, and they can get doubled up on the wings. It's
easy to get doubled up when you take too long to get it wide, isn't it? If you get it out there quickly, you've got a chance of Saka being alone.
The thing is, though, guys, that's the point.
I know your point. Yeah,
they're too deep to start with. If you look at Trossard and look at Saka, when Arsenal lose the ball, they're all in their own half. They're all in their own half. And then by the time they build up, exactly what you said, guys, it's taking too long.
So you're saying in a way they're perhaps being too honest?
I think too honest for sure, but I don't think this is a new thing. I think this has been going on a while.
Well, I'm sure that's what they're told to do.
Of course.
It's tactical.
I feel as though it's easy to look at the numbers of the attacking players. And yes, Gyökeres could have done better. Saka, we always know he plays well or tries to create something, but he's trying to do it from too deep, and it's too hard for him to do that.
He's always got two players against him.
Always.
I mean, he's remarkably good at getting past them as well. But the time he does, obviously everyone's organised in space, and you can't. Yeah, you're exactly right, Micah.
Yeah, and I think it's been going on for a while. They've managed to sort of get a set piece, then the game opens up. The team has then got to attack. But at the moment, it's frustrating to watch your flair players having to do so much defensive work.
Yeah, 2 points in the last 3 games, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, even look at Man City, which we'll speak about in the second half, guys. But they were struggling for points as well in terms of results. But I don't think it's a time to panic. You can't. You're gonna get dodgy results, right, at some stage of the season. So there's no panic. I go back to when we won it at Blackburn. We tried our very, very best to say, okay, it happens. Results are not going to go for you every single time. You've just got to, when it goes against you, as it did today, stay calm and get back and do what you're good at.
Just one more thing before we move on, though. I think as though we talk about Arsenal not scoring, but defensively they were poor today.
They were,
And I'm not talking about just Zubimendi giving it back, or Saliba giving it to Zubimendi and then back to Raya. I'm talking about how many times United players could get behind their midfield line and the centre-half did not push up and engage. That you don't see that right. So many times someone's behind Rice or Zubimendi. Normally in that area of the pitch, it's one of the strongest parts of their game, not letting people through.
Yeah. When they went 1-0 up, actually the chances they gave up, it was unbelievable. Like 3 in 5 minutes, wasn't it? It was something that we're not used to seeing with that Arsenal back four.
Again, I wonder, you've got 2 players there and you come back from injuries, the middle 2, Saliba, and I know he's been back a little while, and Gabriel. You've got a they've played a game in midweek, a tough game, Inter, big win, come back, maybe just a little bit jaded and not quite on it. I mean, that happens. Possibly. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but I am making excuses for them. So, but Manchester United, just final note before we move on to the other games played today. Champions League looks very much within their grasp if they can maintain this sort of form. Be interesting to see how they do against teams that sit and play a low block, because we've seen in recent seasons, haven't we, that Man United's best days have often been against the bigger clubs, big teams that go for them. So that's probably the next test for Michael Carrick. How does he break down teams and not be vulnerable on the counter-attack themselves?
Agreed.
Okay, well, that was the first bite brought to you by Uber Eats. You went to the game, Alan, Newcastle.
I did.
I presume.
Yep.
I thought Villa were very good.
Me too.
I actually really enjoyed the game. I thought it was quite end-to-end, a lot of it, but Newcastle looked a little bit blunt up top.
Yeah, but again, I mean, it's the same thing, copy and paste. Last week, Wolves.
Don't start giggling, Micah. Don't start giggling. He's going to go on, you know.
I'm not like, to you Newcastle fans, listeners and people watching, I'm not having a go at you. It's just Al's reaction. It's
like the end of the world. But that's what football does to us.
Yeah. Very much like Wolves and very much like we've seen so many times. We were just, I mean, Tonali had a really good chance early on. If that goes in, it's very different, I know, but it didn't. But then,
that would have been a great goal, by the way.
Yeah.
The keepers both made excellent saves, with their feet mostly. But
we're just not showing enough up front. We're just lightweight where there's not enough punch, there's not enough skill. Gordon had another poor game. Champions League and league form was completely different. Wissa was poor, didn't offer anything. Voltemado, when he come on, nothing. Barnes struggled. Alanga came on. No, nothing. And Villa were the better team. They had more energy. By the way, Villa played in Turkey on Thursday night. So you talk about energy and too many games and everything else. So to go away, travel back, and then come to Newcastle and show what they did. I mean, Buendia was superb. Rodgers was excellent. Ollie Watkins was everything Newcastle didn't have in terms of his running in behind and constant at the Newcastle defence. He got his goal in with a couple of minutes to go. So, I thought I was really impressed again with Aston Villa, and he's doing a brilliant job with Unai Emery. He's a fantastic coach, and his team deserved to take the 3 points at Newcastle today.
I know I ask you this all the time. What is happening with Newcastle? They had an impressive win against PSV in the Champions League. I did that game, watched it. They looked very energized. It looked like they looked dangerous, especially on, I know PSV going through a little bit of a bad moment, but you're thinking, okay, Villa at home, front foot, and apart from the Tonali chance early doors, it was all a bit slow, I thought.
Yeah, it was one, Martinez had one really good save just before half time, I think. I think
he made two
Lewis
good saves, didn't he? One from Tonali.
Lewis Miley,
what a save that was. Flicked it over the bar.
But Newcastle didn't have Bruno Guimaraes, and I think there's a stat going around. I think he's missed 6 or 8 games, whatever it was, but Newcastle haven't won without him in the team. So that tells you how important he is. Villa had the spark. Villa had the piece of quality from Buendia to get the goal. They had the constant energy from Watkins, and Newcastle didn't have the quality in the final third to upset them. And that's a huge concern because the forwards have been nowhere near good enough for Newcastle this season.
Yeah, they're a strange team to figure out, Newcastle. You know, when you're watching them and analysing and you're thinking, they've got some pace up front with Visser and Gordon and Barnes. But then when they get there, it's almost everything's like there's no real composure. That
came from Alexander Isak largely last season, didn't it? I mean, he was he's so comfortable on the ball, wasn't he? And he was one of those players that exudes class and probably gives confidence to others as well. And that was that calmness up top.
Yeah, they haven't got that. They're missing that piece of brilliance or that spark. Something like Buendia did today. Something very special. Cool, just to change the game. And they haven't had enough of that, anywhere near enough of that. this season, and it's a bit of a concern, yeah. And Joe Linton went off injured, so if he's injured and Bruno's injured for the match in Paris, yeah, it was a hard watch again today.
Not if you're a Villa fan, though. I mean, they're only 4 points off the top now.
Right.
I know we've had numerous conversations about are they in the title race, and the closer it gets to the end and the closer they are to the leaders, then obviously they are.
How clever is Emery, though?
Brilliant.
He's so clever.
Tactically.
Play that box in midfield. Yeah. And it's so difficult because Newcastle's fullbacks didn't know what to do. And when Dia got a little half space there, it's like, do I go? Do I stay? And then what they do, when they lose the ball, they bide the time enough to get back in position and then go. And I was thinking to get the ball wide quick. They've got all their players in the centre of the pitch, but they just managed to get over at the right times. Everyone was organised. I thought Onana is one of the best games I've seen him play in a Villa. He gobbled up absolutely everything in the middle of the park. Bendia on the ball, so effortless the way he gets on the ball and just tick-a-tacker and through balls and took his goal so well. Then you've got Morgan Rogers, who just doesn't stop running all over the place. And then you've got Tielemans just pulling the strings. It's madness how they managed to do it.
Konsa at the back's brilliant as well. Very, very good. Impressive.
Konsa and Gay, do you think the first choice at the moment for England?
Yeah, potentially. Gay 100%.
Yeah,
without
for sure.
doubt.
He's such a class act.
But you know, obviously it depends what happens with Stones, with his fitness, etc., etc. But you know what? Maguire in a low block, he's very, very good. I know he's laughed at. I know people make memes of him all the time.
Do you know what I think? I think he's one of the most underrated players in football. I know people have a pop in. I know people in the game have a pop in. I know he's on the turn, he can be done by as a striker, but he makes up for it to a degree with his intelligence. He can play. He's very good on the ball, and he's never let England down when he's played. And also, I would say he's bloody brilliant in both boxes from set pieces.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, there is an obvious weakness and there's slight lack of pace, but apart from that, and you know, he's got a lot of experience. But yeah, I would say, I don't know, Gay, Konsa.
Yeah, Gay, Konsa, Maguire. But I would take Maguire, definitely.
Yeah.
Without doubt. Big Dan Burn as well. He's back fit now. Was he on the bench?
He's on the bench today, yeah. He was on the bench.
Big Dan Burns played, obviously, under Tuchel a few times as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he played a lot, yeah.
Can they win the league, Al? It's not impossible.
No, it's not, but I would still say that the other two, as I said, I've been really impressed and was today. The way they turned up and the way the energy that they had at Newcastle after coming from Turkey on Thursday night, winning as well. But Emery will be more than happy with everyone keeps saying, and he says it himself, they're not in the title race, so he'll want us to keep saying that, but that doesn't stop us saying how impressed we are with them.
Okay, let's move on. Very good start for Liam Rossigna.
Yeah, I didn't see this game. Well, I seen the result. By all accounts, they were very good. Did you manage to watch it? Any of you guys?
I was flicking around. I watched some of it. I thought, they were well worth the victory. I worry about Crystal Palace at the moment. It's like imploding there, isn't it, with everything that's happened. Manager said he's leaving. They've lost Mark Gay, their captain.
Eze in the summer.
Mateta's now saying he wants to go. It's like they're all jumping ship, and it's mad how football goes.
Wharton was sent off as well, wasn't he?
Wharton got a red, yeah. So
did you see Mateta's chance though in the first half? He's got to score that.
It's a great. I mean, he has missed quite a few chances this season. I think we looked at the fixtures, didn't we, that Chelsea had, and we thought he's got a nice little start there, and it could go well for him, which is really important because it builds belief between a young manager, I would say, and the players. So there's a kind of confidence both ways there. So I think it was absolutely vital that he got off to a good start. In the long term, there's lots more to do, but it's much better than getting off to a bad start.
Al, can I ask you, how do you set up for a game? I don't know if you can walk the
Do you
listeners.
think he can remember?
What do you mean? What do you mean set up for a game? What do you? You mean as what?
Okay, you've been a manager, Al.
Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah.
Shane Given, you're in goal. And there you go. Hey, mate, you're right back.
No, because, okay, you was a young manager when you took over Newcastle. You've got all these things, all these emotions. It's your boyhood club, you know what I mean? So you want to win. Okay, it's a little bit different with Rosenior, whatever we're calling him now. He's got big pressure. So that I would imagine the pressure's similar, although he's trying to get Champions League, you're trying to keep Newcastle in the league. But I know he's had experience at Strasbourg. We know that. But he's a young manager in terms of the Premier League. He's only had a couple of games. How do you go?
Very big club.
Exactly. How do you go about setting up your team? And yes, he's got better players, but you know when you have to prove to people that you can do it at this level. Can you walk us through the emotions, the
how
day?
You exactly failed?
What's this to take the piss out of all 5 minutes? Is it?
It's a genuine. I really am intrigued.
Well, I think one of your first meetings is the one of the most important ones. Is the first time you address the players, and not only in the dressing room, but then out on the pitch, and how and what you're going to do, and how you get your point over, how you talk, how all of those things.
Perfect. So you've said that. So you address the players. You have a meeting of, say, squad 2025. Do you go to the captain and say something to try and get them on side? Or are you just trying to set, well, this is what it is from the get-go, and this is how we're going to do it?
I think so. You'd have to have individual meetings or small group meetings. I always remember when Bobby Robson came into Newcastle, that's exactly what he did. He came in over a struggling team, and he got the players committee. He got several individual players into his office to talk to them, through them, and then it was then when he sort of planted the seed. And it was then that you thought, wow, this guy is amazing. You know, in those first meetings, you think the energy and the atmosphere and what he's about and all of those things. So yeah, that's I'm sure what he's done. And then you've got your individual style of play, how you want to get it off on the, pass it off on the training ground. And it helps when you get off, obviously. I mean, he's got off to a bloody good start as well. So that really, really helps.
I'm pleased for him. I think he's exuded confidence, which I think is a really, really important thing for someone coming into that sort of job. I mean, having been at Strasbourg and Hull and a bit with Derby, with Wayne Rooney and stuff, he's come in with very confident. So the one thing, if you come in timid, the players will recognise that. So I think even though some people might say, well, he's perhaps been a little bit overconfident, I think it was really, really important that he did that, because he doesn't, I mean, obviously he was a good footballer, but he wasn't, like a lot of players are, like a huge star. So you've got to come in and be confident. And I think he's clearly done that. And it seems like the players have bought into it. The next run of fixtures are, West Ham at home, Wolves away, Leeds at home, and Burnley at home.
Brilliant.
So it's a good run of fixtures. We know that can trip you up sometimes, but so far so good. Did it without obviously Palmer as well. Before we take a break, the other game was big win, I would say, that for Forest. Huge win, particularly with West Ham winning the last 2 games.
Yeah, and the way they lost in midweek in Europe as well, there was a lot of negativity. So with them knowing West Ham had won, the pressure was massive. And the form that Brentford have been in, Brentford have been superb, haven't they? So for them to go there and win, clean sheet, it was right up Sean Dyche's street, isn't it, in terms of getting a result like that when it really, really mattered. So, big relief for them.
I thought, I watch honestly every game possible. I've got no life. I haven't.
Somebody asked me the other day, how many games of football you watch a week? I went, cool, blimey, good question. Definitely double figures.
Must have some life if you got time to go and find those stupid fucking boots you're wearing.
He must have got them online.
But the negativity you mentioned, I watched them against Braga, and they had a few chances, and Yates scored an own goal. And after Sean Dyche, I thought his interview was fantastic, because he could have dug the players out who not had many minutes, but he said, no, I thought they'd give it effort. I think it was just down to a little bit of quality. And then it just helps you. It just helps keep the dressing room alive and say, okay, we lost that game. The manager still got the faith of him, and then they go get a result like I did today. I just thought it was great management.
Yeah, totally agree. Before we go to the break, last week we released another episode of Premier League Greats, the moments that made them, on the great Stevie Gerrard. And that episode sparked some debate on volleys and half volleys. So Micah, don't worry. We've got Adam from one of our sister podcasts, which I love, by the way. It's great fun, called Football Cliches. And he's going to clear up the debate because he knows everything.
Gary, Alan and Micah, as the world's leading expert on the language of football, I couldn't help but intervene in the latest half-volley debate. Alan, first of all, great to see someone so open-minded about what a volley could be. If the ball's in the air and someone hits it and it looks like a volley, let's call it a volley. We should be allowed. No problem there. Gary, thank you for once again reiterating what a half-volley should be. They're sacred, beautiful things. They have that gadunk quality. And all those people in the comments, and Micah Richards, it's terrifying what you think is a half-volley. If the ball bounces and someone hits through it, we don't have to have a name for it. It's just a shot. You could describe it however you like, but it's not a half volley.
Well, he lost me when he said "gudunk." I couldn't take anything else.
The sound of the ball hitting the ground and just hitting the foot. Gudunk.
I mean,
with your boots, it's more of a gudunk.
I mean, to be fair, he explained it very well. But he's never played headers and volleys before in his life. Never. And have you noticed the age brackets as well? 40 down is agreeing with me. And old bastards.
Do you think Adam's an old bastard, do you?
How old is he? He's
just 21. Just goes for Alan's barbers. Anyway, you can hear more from Adam on the Football Cliches podcast wherever you get your pods. But for now, let's take a break. Actually, after the break, Michael, we'll let you go because you've been working so hard. And Alan and myself are going to discuss Saturday's games, which we've actually already recorded because it was getting late. Now, for a special part of today's episode brought to you by AG1. When you're on the pitch, you need endurance, strength, focus, and that starts with a good routine. Even if you're not a football player or a former one like us three, positive daily habits can make a world of difference. If you're looking to build them, start with AG1. It has the nutrients, minerals, and probiotics your body needs to feel its best. And unlike training for the World Cup, it's as easy as one scoop in water, shake, drink, and enjoy. So then, what sort of things were you guys doing to stay in shape when you were playing? Micah, you're not so long ago, so give us two oldies a chance to recall something.
Do you want the honesty?
Oh, of course.
Kebabs. Chinese.
How not to do it. That's
McDonald's. You know what? It was weird, you know. When I used to play, and you're burning so many calories back then, I don't know how much you used to burn, but I could eat whatever I wanted and not, my body fat was like 5%. But then, you know, when you get injured, that's when you have to start watching yourself, don't you? And then comes in all the spinach and the brown rice and just the protein. That's the only real time I took care of my body when I was injured.
I was very similar to you, Mikey. You know, I could sort of eat what I wanted and didn't really put any weight on it. It's because you're training every day. You're pushing yourself every day, aren't you? And you're playing 2 or 3 times a week.
I think the thing is, though, isn't it, that it has changed, and it's hard to define the difference that good nutrition would make if you'd have done it differently. Because you can remember when Wenger came in and introduced a different thinking towards nutrition in this country, and Arsenal players were saying, "Oh God, we were flying and all this and feeling in great shape." You know, obviously now we know so much more about nutrition, and you know, things like in the AG1s, you've got, you know, probiotics, which is so important for the gut and stuff like that. We talked to Haaland, didn't we, recently, Alan, and he was talking about the nutrition, his diet, it's basically giving yourself the best chance to succeed. And I think that's the same whether it be, even if you're not a footballer, give yourself the best chance of being fit.
Yeah, I remember one just quickly, Capello as well. He banned ketchup at England. Oh, that was a nightmare. I still got my room service, got one of the physios to get me a little club sandwich and chips to the room. Yeah. But it's a shock to the system. But now, I'm a lean, mean fighting machine. Come on, guys. I look good, don't I?
You're looking well, big
I'm looking well.
It's because you're on the AG ones, and that's this special part of today's episode was brought to you by AG1. Like a good warm-up before a big match, it's important to set yourself up for success in any way that you can. Third-party tested and informed sports certified, AG1 helps ensure you're ready for kickoff or whatever else the day punts your way. For a limited time, get the exclusive AG1 Green Steel Tumbler worth £37 free, plus 5 travel packs and the welcome kit, a total value of £80, all complimentary when you sign up for a monthly subscription at drinkag1.com/restisfootball. This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. New year, new website for your business, and Squarespace makes it easy. Choose from a lineup of professional templates, customized with simple drag and drop tools, and let their AI builder help you create a polished site in just a few steps. Head to squarespace.com/football for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use offer code FOOTBALL to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Welcome back to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer and just me, Gary Lineker now. We've let Micah off for the rest of the night because, well, he's been working hard all day, bless him.
Can't do 2 shifts. We know that. He can't do 2 shifts.
Not even to do Manchester City, who won, but we'll come to them in a minute because I want to start with defeat for Liverpool. We've been talking on, they went on this run, didn't they, of 12 games unbeaten, and they played particularly well in midweek in a game that you would have thought would have been a difficult one for them in Marseille, which they won 3-0, and then they come back to this game and the same old issues. Just don't look right at the back, do they? I know Canate, his father passed away, and obviously we send our condolences to him and his family. And also Gomez got injured as well, but they've not got much backup at that position, have they?
Honestly, they were so... I mean, for the first goal, I don't know whether you saw it on Match of the Day last night. Yeah. Well, we highlighted all 3 goals and how they could and should have done better. But I think particularly the first goal would give me most concern if I was a fan, because I mean, Van Dijk absolutely should do better, should clear it. I know he said a bit windy, but that's got nothing to do with it. He should clear it. And then he didn't do anything. In fact, he tried to pull himself away from blocking the cross, which was really strange. But then Gomez should have been further over to closer to Evan Nielsen. I mean, and the 2 fullbacks in Kirkez and in Frimpong were just like, I was thinking, they were just non-existent. They were actually on the edge of the box still when the ball went in the back of the net, despite the ball going over the top. I mean, it was just... It was staggering, really, how much was wrong with that first goal. And I mean, it wasn't just defensively. I thought they were really poor in forward positions as well. You probably saw as well, highlighted where they didn't seem to want to shoot and have a pop at goal, which is most unlike Mo Salah, where he went through and tried to pass it rather than take a touch.
I was really surprised at that. Sometimes that's a slight lack of confidence, isn't it? You know, but it's not like him, of all people.
No.
Yeah, things are not quite right, and I think it's surprised us all this season. Then you thought to yourself, well, you know, they've come back a bit, but a lot of those games were draws and you also highlighted that, didn't you, against teams that perhaps you would expect them to win. Yeah.
Leeds. Yeah. Was it Sunderland as well, I think, maybe?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, those are obviously games that they should be winning. It seems very flat. It seems very open, lack of spark, lack of energy. I guess like a lot of teams, it's the same with Newcastle. A great credit to Bournemouth, by the way. I thought to be 2-0 up and then to peg back to 2-2 and then go and get the winner basically with the last touch of the game.
Worth pointing out, though, perhaps, Alan, that, you know, you go away and play Marseille. It's a tough game. Good performance, you win. Not just them. We go back to Arsenal, game in midweek. I know they could rest one or two players because they're going particularly well in the Champions League. Newcastle as well, playing against teams that perhaps haven't had that. Manchester United didn't play in Europe. You're going to expect to come up against fresher legs. Bournemouth against Liverpool obviously had they kept going right to the end. But Liverpool really struggling from set pieces, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, I don't care who you've been to or who you've played or how many changes you make. Yeah. You still have to be right at set pieces and the way Liverpool defend, and there's no way you can excuse that for tiredness or anything. They're just all over the place and they're miles off it defensively. By the way, Aston Villa played in Turkey on Thursday evening and come to Newcastle and were outstanding, great energy. I know he made a couple of changes, but Liverpool look very leggy, they look very tired, they've gone soft, they look easy to play against.
Why do you think it is? It's hard to explain, isn't it? Because, it's not like they've lost players from last season. They've got one or two injuries, but most clubs have at this point. They're probably not well covered in central defence. That's probably the area mostly. Virgil, perhaps. Yeah. He's certainly not performed as well this season as he has, and he's been brilliant for Liverpool, obviously. And everyone has tough spells. Konaté's had a tough season. They've had one or two injuries in their backups there. So you'd have thought, and I think the Liverpool fans are screaming, saying, well, hang on a minute, the window's about to close in a few days. Man City have signed Mark Gay, who obviously was very, very close to signing Liverpool in the summer. The club are making remarks that they can't really do anything at the moment. So it must be frustrating for the Liverpool fans after the glory that they've had.
I think that's the one they'll look at and think they missed a trick when they didn't sign a centre-half or sign Gahey when they perhaps had the opportunity, didn't go all out for him. And their recruitment up to now, certainly two fullbacks, Frimpong and Kirkas, at times, I think, have been all over the place, and we highlighted that yesterday in the first goal. Wirtz, very, very good player, but still working out how to get the best of him, albeit we've seen signs of improvement. Obviously, the Isak situation we know with his injury. Midfield looks a problem. Midfield Liverpool is they had so much energy last year with those three, Gravenberch and McAllister and Szoboszlai. I don't think you can pin any blame on him, but McAllister looks very, very leggy. Doesn't have anywhere near the energy that he had last season. So that's an issue. And they're so open defensively. It's like, yesterday was a great example of that.
Yeah, big change. In contrast to Liverpool, Manchester City have also stuttered and staggered a little bit in the start of the season, have made a couple of significant signings, obviously Semenyo and Mark Gay, which is interesting. They've acted. I know a lot of fans are going, well, hang on, what's happened to the 115 charges and when's that coming about and how come they're still allowed to...
You can understand that though, can't you?
I get it. I totally get it. It's probably a quagmire of legal... They're probably tying them up in knots and will delay it as long as they possibly can. The last thing I read about it might be another year before... Yeah. And then there might be an appeal. So
totally understand people asking and
anyway,
saying
that aside, that's nothing to do with actually what goes on the pitch and Pep Guardiola in particular. And we can only judge them on their football at present. Pep left out Foden and Haaland, gave them both a rest.
It was a good first start for Gahey. There's no doubt about it. He played well, made some good tackles, pinged a few good balls over the top. So he was solid. They only had 4 shots on target in the whole game, which all came in the first half. And first half, I thought they were good. I thought their movement changed slightly with Semenyo and Marmoush playing more central roles, which then gave fullbacks a little bit more freedom to get down the line. And that's what happened with the first goal. A brilliant ball in from Nunes on the right-hand side. Great finish from Marmoush. And the second one as well from Semenyo. The touch, his first touch with the right foot to push it onto his left foot and then guide it in was just superb. So... they weren't that great second half, but all the damage was done in the first half. So it was Wolves came into it a little bit more second half, but they're never in serious doubt, I don't think. So it was a standard 3 points for them, of which they had to get back to winning ways after what's been a really poor week for them.
Yeah, we're strikers, Alan. What did you think about leaving Haaland out? And I know they have a lot of fixtures these days, but there's always been a lot of fixtures in football. There are more European ties than we certainly were played in our day because of the nature of the Champions League now. I suspect Haaland wouldn't have wanted to be left out.
No.
He probably needs a rest because he's had a lot of football. He played him in games that perhaps he could have left him out in. Exeter, was it, in the FA Cup?
Yes, absolutely.
For one, which is a little bit odd. I thought he might play home to Wolves because when a striker's in a bit of a rut, and for Haaland, it is a rut because compared with his extraordinary numbers that he does, and I'm sure he will do very soon, you would think, well, Wolves at home, he'd be licking his lips a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And Marmoush was very Erling Haaland-like in terms of getting across and pinging that ball in the defender. So, I mean, he wouldn't have wanted to be left out, as we wouldn't have. We wanted because you think goals, bottom of the table, Wolves. I know there's been a bit of improvement, but still, you'd fancy yourself massively at home. So he would be chomping at the bit to get on and play. I mean, he got on, but probably not as much as he wanted. But I get it and understand it because he hasn't been as sharp as we know he can be. So, and he hasn't scored as many goals. And when I guess you've got something to complain about if they don't win and they don't score, but they did win and they scored. So it'll be back to normal, I guess, for him this week.
Absolutely. All in all, a very good weekend for Manchester City, particularly with the result this afternoon with United winning. So moving on, Spurs, Burnley. All I've seen now is the brief highlights, but it looked like Dubravka kept Burnley in it for a while, and then it got all a bit messy again for Spurs, but they managed to dig themselves. Romero again, what a header.
It was a great header. And Van de Ven with the first goal as well, with a brilliant finish. But in the big picture, I guess they've taken 1 point from someone who's second bottom and someone who's third bottom. West Ham beat them last week at home, and they've got a last-minute equaliser against Burnley. So the Tottenham fans are not happy, and you totally get and understand why, because I said it last night again on Match of the Day, their recruitment, I think, over the years is not been anywhere near good enough, and they're being punished for that.
If the recruitment's not been good enough over the years, is it fair to blame the manager? Plus, they've got so many signings, and he's only been there for 6 months. Yeah,
but that's the nature of the game. Yeah. Whether you like it or not now as a manager, if you don't, then you shouldn't be a coach or a manager, whatever. Because more often than not now, at the highest level, you're dealing with sporting directors and technical directors, performance directors, all of these guys who a lot of the time are bringing the players in, and you have to make them work and make them fit into your team or your system.
Very true. Interesting stat, actually. Only Richarlison with 8 goals has scored more for Spurs than Mickey van der Ven, who's got 7 in all competitions this season. I mean, he looks like he could probably play up front. Romero's got 1 or 2 as well, added to that. They've scored, I think, 9 via defenders, which is more than any other side in the Premier League. Or maybe they need to sort out the top end. But if you've got Kulusevski missing, if you've got Maddison missing, and obviously Kudus is out now as well, it's no massive surprise that perhaps the goals are coming from elsewhere.
But they still should be doing better than what they're doing.
Yeah, of course they should.
I mean, everyone has injuries, and they've got Solanke back in there. They've got Moani on the bench. They've got Odebert, Tell. So they've still got enough in there. They've got Conor Gallagher there. They've got Van de Ven. They've got Romero. They've got Porro. They've got Vicario. Yeah. They still should be performing better than what they're doing, Tottenham, with even with the injuries that they've got. I mean, they've been so poor. It's been unbelievable.
Real blow for Burnley at the end as well, wasn't it? Because they thought they'd turned it around, because that would have, given them a glimmer of hope, at least that kind of victory.
Well, Scott said it in his interview. Scott Parker, after the game, said he realises they're going to have to start winning games pretty soon. And that one, I guess, he had those 3 points in the bag, but for a magnificent header from Romero, it really was. But it's harsh on Burnley, because they did create a few chances against that Tottenham back four, but they'll have to settle for a point and move on.
Yep. Elsewhere, little revival from West Ham, Al.
I know.
There's 2 wins on the bounce, big wins as well. I know Forest won today, but I was thinking to myself, a bit of pressure on them today, because can you imagine if Nuno went to West Ham and maybe sent Forest down? It would have been a little twist there, a little bit of karma as far as Nuno's concerned.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, when we were, particularly I was criticising West Ham, and rightly so, but their last 2 performances, the one at Spurs, obviously they got the 3 points last minute with Callum Wilson, and yesterday against Sunderland, 3-0 up at half time. Goodness me.
I know.
They absolutely battered Sunderland. Not too many times this season, Sunderland, but they were second best to everything, and they deserve to be some very good goals. Somerville, that header, brilliant ball in from Bowen, a little dink, but the way he attacked it and jumped Somerville, it was a brilliant header.
Yeah.
Would have been proud of that one. It was superb, it was. And Fernandes in midfield, I thought, was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah,
He bossed the midfield,
The fact is that with West Ham winning 2 on the bounce, they've now closed that gap to not just Forest, but also Leeds. So they start, if they keep that run going, they start to drag 1 or 2 other sides into it. Even the likes, Crystal Palace, who I fear the worst for with everything that's going on there at present. Spurs are on the same 20. They're 8 points clear of the gap at the moment. That's quite a lot. But we were saying, a couple of weeks ago, we were thinking, crikey, 28 points probably enough to stay up. I'm not sure that might be the case now. Things have changed a little bit.
At least they give themselves a chance, West Ham. At least they're having a little bit of a fight, aren't they? Whereas we didn't see any of that for large periods of this season. So their last 2 games, they've got to keep that standard up.
Yeah, they've got a good record actually against promoted sides, West Ham. They've won 11 of their last 13 Premier League home games against newly promoted sides and drawn 2. So their run of 13 games unbeaten is the longest in the competition. So, they just need to play against the promoted team every week. It doesn't quite work like that. Okay, Al, we'll call it a day there. We'll be back on Wednesday with a Premier League great series, the moments that made them, with a certain Sergio Aguero, and I think you can all probably work out one of those moments.
Aguero!
Exactly. But for now, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a great week.